Hello, my name is Jewel, and this is part of a series of videos based on my book entitled When You Lose a Loved One. A common concern among people who have lost a loved one is the fear that all too soon their loved ones will be forgotten. Those that have departed will all too soon be forgotten by those of us left behind. It doesn't help when, if they had been employed, a replacement is found in no time at all. If they served in church, someone else fills their role very soon. And it almost seems unfair that life should continue or life should resume unabated when there's such a huge vacuum created in our lives. It becomes even more difficult when we have to give away their things and learn to carry on in life without them. And so we somehow feel like we have to perpetuate them. We have to do something to ensure that they are not forgotten. They are not forgotten. And so some people set up foundations, some set up charities in order to perpetuate the memory of their departed loved ones. But what if you can't set up a foundation or a charity? In what ways can we extend the legacy of our loved ones? And that is the subject of our discussion today. We're going to be exploring the ways in which, regardless who you are, regardless what your resources are, the ways in which we can extend the legacy of the people that we have loved and who have left us. As I pondered this issue following the loss of my husband, it occurred to me that, the biblical characters, the people in the Bible that we celebrate so much, Joseph, David, Ruth, you name them. Whenever we think of them, we do not think of them in the light of death, even though all of them have died. We never think of David and then we are thinking of how David died, or thinking of Ruth and how Ruth died. No. We tend to think of them in the light of the life that they lived. In the light of the life that they lived. And somehow when we think of them, we think of the example they set for us, and we are inspired to also live our lives better because of them. When you read Hebrews chapter 11, it records the exploits of many Bible greats, their feats of faith, records them all. And then in chapter 12, the very first verse, it says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up." And so the writer is more or less telling us that all these people that have run ahead of us have set us an example. And they are surrounding us. They are more or less looking down on us and watching us run our own race. And looking on their example, let us also strive to do, very well in our own race. Now, your loved one, my loved one, who has left us, their names may not be recorded in Hebrews chapter 11, but I believe that they have also joined this heavenly crowd of witnesses, and they are looking on us and they are cheering us on. And so let us allow their lives to inspire us to run our races better. Just as we allow the lives of people like Joseph, David, and all those people to inspire us to do better, we also ought to let the lives of our departed loved ones inspire us to run our race better. And so I encourage you to ask yourself, what example did your departed loved one set for you? How did he live, or how did she live his or her life of faith that is exemplary to you, that is inspiring to you? Let that motivate you to also run your own race better. Let that motivate you to also do better in your own walk with God. For me, I remember that my husband loved God very much. I remember his diligence and his commitment to excellence. And I also remember his gentle and his gracious spirit. And all these inspire me to be a better person. They motivate me when I'm tempted to feel sloppy or to be vindictive or to be harsh. They inspire me. When I remember his example, I decide that no, I'm going to live better in the light of the life that he has lived. And so I choose to honor him by emulating his example. And that is how a person's legacy is extended, when we allow their example to influence us to live better lives. Now, someone may be asking, What if my loved one didn't live an exemplary life? What if there was nothing praiseworthy about the way they went about their lives, such that even their death was almost shameful? Well, in instances like that, I just like to say that you can still learn from their mistakes. In fact, we do that all the time. If we hear that somebody used a certain product and suffered because of it, we all know to steer clear of that product because of this person's example. So for me, whether the person lived a good life or lived a bad life, you can decide to live a better life. You can decide to be more intentional. You can decide to be more deliberate. You can decide that yours will be better, because of them. And that is one way of extending the legacy of someone you love that has passed on. Another thing we can all learn from loss is not to take anyone for granted. It's not to take anyone for granted. Somehow we assume, or unconsciously we live as if we are always going to have the people that we love around us, unconsciously. And when somebody dies like this, it makes you suddenly realize that, hey, I'm not going to have the people around me with me all the time. It's not guaranteed that they'll be with me every single day of my life. And so that ought to make you appreciate the people in your lives better. That ought to make you less quarrelsome with the people in your lives, because knowing that, look, one day they'll be gone and I'll realize how foolish this quarrel is, for what it is. So that realization ought to ought to motivate us to make the best of the time that we have with the people that we love today. One potential pitfall when you have lost someone dear is to become so wrapped up and so preoccupied with this person that you have lost that you neglect the people that you still have with you. Guard against it. Guard against it. There isn't much you can do about the one that is gone, but if you neglect the people that are here and they also go, your regrets will even be more. They'll even be more. And so let this motivate you to appreciate the people while you have them. Your parents, your friends, your family, your children. Make time to be with them. Create memories with them. Love them. Let them know that they are important to you. Let them know that you appreciate them, because look, you will not always have them with you. If you appreciate the people you still have with you more, you are more intentional about your relations with them because of the sadness or because of the passing of this other person. It is a way of honoring them. It is a way of honoring their memory. And so by all means, let this make you realize the importance and the value of the people that you are blessed with today. The third thing that I think honors the memory of your loved one is to learn to seize the day. We are never more faced with our own mortality than we are when we lose somebody that is dear to us, or when we sit at the funeral of a loved one. We suddenly realize that we are truly mortal. We suddenly realize that time is indeed short. We suddenly realize that tomorrow is never promised. And in fact, it is one of the most effective cures to procrastination I know. Now, this knowledge or this awareness, this realization should move us, should push us to do whatever it is that we know we have to do while we still have the time. It should galvanize us into putting our all into whatever purpose, whatever direction that God is giving us for our lives, whatever work it is that we know that we must do. This awareness, this realization that, look, tomorrow is not guaranteed, should make us get up and do whatever it is that needs to be done, and to do it and do it well. In conclusion, I'd like to say that each of us has been given a race to run by God. Each of us has been given a certain course to run by God. The departure of a loved one should not halt us in our tracks. If anything at all, it should motivate us. It should galvanize us to run our race with even greater value. Thank you so much for joining me today. God bless you, and may He teach us what it means to grieve